In order to get a high score in the IELTS test, you need to write a great essay in writing task 2. I will show you how to do this today. Firstly, I'll talk through how we can plan our essays and think of ideas. Then we will write a whole essay together, breaking down each part step by step. Then we will discuss how to check our essays, and we'll explore what vocabulary we should use for task 2. The first thing we need to do in task 2 is identify the question type. There are around 5 common question types that come up, and we need to be able to distinguish them in order to tailor our approach to maximise our chances of getting the best score possible. The types of questions are opinion or agree or disagree questions, discussion questions discussing two views, advantages and disadvantages questions, solution questions, and two-part questions. Then we need to analyse the question. Failing to read and analyse the question properly will ruin your score, even if you show a brilliant range of grammar and vocabulary. This step is absolutely vital. Now, I'm sure you've heard read the question a million times, but what does this actually entail? The examiner wants to see that we have addressed the specific question. Therefore, we need to take the time to read it, identify the topic, and then drill down to find the specificity. Say the topic is about learning local languages. You shouldn't just write everything you can think of about that general topic. Is it asking you the advantages and disadvantages of learning local languages? Or is it asking you to weigh up the importance of learning a local language versus learning English? Or is it asking whether the number of speakers in this language decreasing is the government's responsibility or parents? These all require drastically different essays. Fully exploring the specificity is essential in avoiding dropping down band scores. Let's look at a question together. Many today feel that attention spans are becoming shorter due to the prevalence of social media. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answers and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. What is the general topic here? The general topic is social media. But we wouldn't just stop here and start thinking about ideas related to social media. We need to dive deeper to see what the examiner actually wants us to explore. We can see that it's about the prevalence of social media, so how widespread the use of these sites is. It is asking about whether we agree or disagree that this popularity is causing a reduction in attention span. So we should only include elements that are relevant to the specific topic. If we were to discuss anything else, such as how social networks can be dangerous for children, whether the internet impacts our social lives, or about the risks of tech monopolies, then we would lower our score due to lack of relevance. Even if there is a loose link between all of these issues, the more laser focused we can be on the specific topic, and the more we can avoid getting even the least bit sidetracked, the better. We also need to make sure we identify the instruction words. Do you agree or disagree? We can see that this is an opinion essay, therefore we need to address the question using this format. We are also asked to give reasons for our answers and include relevant examples. Now we need to think about what ideas we're going to write about. When planning the essay, many teachers encourage their students to brainstorm ideas in order to figure out what points they are going to write about. But this is not a good idea. According to Wikipedia, brainstorming is a creativity technique in which stress is typically placed on the volume and variety of ideas, including ideas that may seem outlandish or off the wall. Volume and variety is exactly what we do not want or need. We need to think of a limited amount of specific, relevant ideas that actually answer the question. Brainstorming encourages us to think of a large number of complex ideas. In reality, what we should actually be looking for are the most obvious, simple and straightforward ideas possible. There are no extra marks to be gained by thinking of the most complicated, elaborate, high-level ideas. The purpose of this task is to show that we can use ideas to clearly communicate in English, which means keeping it simple. So what should we do? We should ask ourselves this question. When I read the essay question, what are the most straightforward ideas that come up? Here in the UK, there is a game show called Pointless. In each episode, contestants answer a series of general knowledge questions that were put to 100 members of the general public in a previously conducted online survey which had a time limit of 100 seconds. The contestants' aim is to give the most obscure answer possible, the best case scenario being an answer that no member of the public gave. We need to do this, but in reverse in task 2. We should ask ourselves, if 100 people were asked this question, and had 100 seconds to answer it, what would most people say? We only have 40 minutes to plan, write and check the whole essay, so we do not want to be spending more than a few minutes generating ideas. This question is an opinion question. We can either agree that attention spans are becoming shorter due to the prevalence of social media, or disagree that attention spans are becoming shorter due to the prevalence of social media. I see some advice that says you can partially agree or disagree or hold a balanced view, but I would advise against that strongly, as it generally leads to unclear essays with poor structures. So, putting your own opinion to the side, for which side can you think of more ideas? I would say that with this topic, it's pretty clear that the side we should go for is agreement. There is absolutely no need to be a contrarian. We do not need to impress the examiner with a novel perspective to the question. All we want to do is think of the most simple, straightforward ideas. Remember, this is not a knowledge or ideas test. The examiner wants you to show that you can use ideas to clearly communicate in English. So now we know what side we will write about, we need to ask ourselves the question we discussed. If 100 people were asked, why is the prevalence of social media causing attention spans to shorten, and had 100 seconds to answer it, what would most people say? I think that they would most likely focus on these points. Firstly, constant distractions. Many would mention how social media is designed to provide constant notifications and updates which interrupt other activities and make it difficult for users to focus on any one task for an extended period. Many would highlight the role of instant gratification in social media, where users can quickly scroll through content, leading to a need for constant stimulation and a decreased patience for slower paced or more demanding tasks. Some could point out that social media bombards users with an excessive amount of information in short, rapid bursts, making it hard to concentrate deeply on any one topic as the mind is always shifting to the next piece of content. They might mention the trend towards increasingly shorter forms of content like tweets or quick video clips, which cater to and reinforce brief attention spans. Now we have 4 strong ideas, which were easy to generate. Now, we don't need to use all of these, we just need to choose the 2 that we feel most confident about writing and expanding on with explanations and examples. Many students make the mistake of thinking that their case will be stronger if they pack in lots of ideas. This is absolutely the wrong way to go about this task. The examiner wants you to fully support your arguments, not just list multiple ideas. In this essay, I'm going to talk about constant distractions and instant gratification, as I feel confident that I can expand on these ideas. Now we've identified the question type, analysed it, decided what side we are on, and have chosen our 2 key ideas. Are we ready to start writing? No. This is a bad idea. We need to plan exactly how we're going to structure our essay. Now you might be thinking, I don't have time to be doing all this planning. You will have time. When you first try out this method, it may take a bit longer at the beginning, and that's completely normal. When you're learning something new, it will take longer. However, if you practice using this method, you will get so much quicker and you'll have no problem getting everything done in 40 minutes. This is the structure I'm going to use for this essay. There is not one structure you need to use. This is a structure that I've seen reliably make for great essays. What you need to do is find a robust structure for each question type. One structure for opinion essays, a structure for advantages, disadvantages essays, etc. And then memorize these structures so they become completely familiar to you. So then all you need to do in the exam is add in your ideas to the plan. This allows us to create a roadmap for our essay. When we are writing, we need to be focusing on writing, not thinking about what ideas we want to write about next or what structure we'll use. We need to be focusing on one thing at a time in order to write a clear, coherent essay. So to recap, what should our planning stage involve? We need to identify the question type, then analyse the question, generate our ideas, and then plan the structure of our essay. So now we're ready to write our essay. We always start with our introduction. Our first sentence will just be paraphrasing the question. There is growing concern that the widespread use of social media is contributing to a reduction in attention spans among users today. Remember, paraphrasing just involves restating the question using synonyms and word reordering. Now we need to write our thesis statement. This is just our opinion in one sentence. In this case, our essay is agreeing with the statement. This essay agrees that social media is indeed reducing people's ability to concentrate. Now we'll write our final sentence of our introduction, which is our outline sentence. In this sentence, we will tell the examiner what we are going to write about in our main body paragraphs. Firstly, Social media creates constant distractions which disrupts focus. Secondly, the emphasis on instant gratification diminishes users' capacity to direct their attention appropriately. So you can see that I sometimes keep the phrase attention span. I also use focus and ability to concentrate. Try to keep your language varied and avoid using phrases multiple times if possible. However, for things like social media, it's not really possible to think of various synonyms. You could say social networks, but it's fine to keep it as long as we continue to vary the vast majority of our language. So our introduction only contains 3 sentences, all very specific and relevant to the task. We need to keep our tone formal and we need to avoid trying to be interesting. Remember, there are no points for this, and it's possible that we could have our score reduced for failing to stay on topic. Now we need to write our main body paragraphs. Firstly, we will write our topic sentence. The topic sentence is a summary of our idea and will tell the examiner what the point of the paragraph is. Constant distractions from social media notifications significantly contribute to the shortening of attention spans. Then, in the explanation, we need to expand on this point. A helpful way of thinking about this is assuming the reader does not know anything about this topic, meaning we need to explain clearly what we mean. Every ping or alert from a social media app draws the user's attention away from more focused activities, fragmenting their concentration. This frequent interruption conditions the brain to expect and crave short bursts of information, thereby diminishing the capacity for prolonged focus. It could be argued that the word ping is informal, but in this context, it's a useful word and it's a piece of vocabulary that uniquely describes a new phenomenon in a way that other words cannot. We now need to think of an example to support our idea. You can think about news stories or studies. You absolutely can make something up. The examiner will not check whether it's real or not. Just make sure it sounds believable. We shouldn't say something like 95% of people in the UK get fired due to being distracted by social media notifications. That's just obviously not true. However, a better way would be, for example, a study conducted by the University of Toronto found that office workers interrupted by electronic communications were less productive and produced work of lower quality than those who could work uninterrupted. I just made this up, but I would say that it sounds perfectly believable, and that's all we need. Now we repeat the same structure with our second main body paragraph. Our topic sentence will be, furthermore, the design of social media caters to instant gratification, which erodes the ability to engage in tasks that require sustained attention. I used furthermore here as a discourse marker. It's absolutely essential that we use them. You do not need to memorize long lists of discourse markers. In fact, you could use the same small selection of them in every essay you write. Remember, the examiner is only reading one task 2 essay of yours. Just choose reliable, pertinent discourse markers and use them appropriately. Now we need to explain our point further. Social media platforms are engineered to provide immediate rewards in the form of likes and comments, which satisfy users' desires for quick responses. This setup encourages scrolling behaviour, skipping from one piece of content to another without taking the time to deeply engage with any single one. Now we support our point with an example. A visible manifestation of this is seen in the rapid consumption of TikTok videos, where content is typically under a minute long and designed to entertain immediately, reinforcing quick attention redirection. That's it for our main body paragraphs. Now all we have left to write is our conclusion. All we need to write is our opinion and a summary of the main points. In conclusion, it is evident that social media plays a substantial role in reducing attention spans through its promotion of constant interruptions and its reliance on instant gratification. We should never add any new ideas in our conclusion. Let's talk a bit about vocabulary. I often see lists of vocabulary with titles like high-level words that will get you a bad 9. Complex vocabulary does not equal a higher band score. Most students have enough vocabulary to get the score they need, but because they think they need a lot of high-level complex words, they make a lot of mistakes. It's like if you're at the gym. If you attempt to lift weights that are way too heavy for you, you will have horrendous form and will fail to work the muscle you intended to hit. If you use vocabulary that you don't feel comfortable using, it will bring down your vocabulary score, not increase it, because you are increasing the chance of making mistakes. You don't need to use the most simple, basic words possible, but use the words you feel most confident using, and absolutely don't try to force high-level words that you have memorized into your essay. This will more than likely lower your score. The examiners are much more impressed with topic-specific vocabulary than words that are more complex but don't really help you answer the question. Now we have written our essay, we need to check it. What is the best way to check our essays in the exam? I would advise reading every sentence again after you write it, then after you complete each paragraph, read it again, and then finally read the whole essay after you've completed it. This will mean that you've checked the essay 3 times. Is this overkill? No. When you start doing this, you will notice that in previous checks there are mistakes you have missed. Looking back after completing each part allows us to read with fresher eyes, making it a little easier to notice any errors. What if you don't have time to check your essay at the end? If during practice tests you find that you don't have enough time to plan, write, and then check your essay, you don't have a time management issue, you have a writing issue. As you improve your writing, you will get quicker. Breaking the process down into these 3 stages actually allows us to focus on one thing at a time, which actually helps us to streamline the approach. It's a good idea to break down our checking stage and focus on grammar and vocabulary separately. It's a lot easier for our brain to focus on one thing at a time. Remember, if you're using a word, are you 100% sure that that word means what you think it means and that it is appropriate in that sentence? If you're anything less than 100% certain, use a simpler word that you are 100% confident about. If you focus on putting as many high-level words into your essay as possible, you are going to make lots of mistakes. This is a waste of time and will lower your vocabulary score. It's better to use a simpler word correctly than a complicated word incorrectly. Again, ensure that your language is varied. It's okay to repeat some words, but in general, we should focus on demonstrating our range. Other things we need to check are our paragraphing. Is it clear where our paragraphs start and end? Word count. Have we written over 250 words? Coherence and cohesion. Is our essay easy to follow and well linked? Is our opinion clear throughout? And have we answered the specific question? If we check all of these things, we will spot a few things that we can correct that if we had missed would have lowered our score. If you want to ensure you get the score you deserve, do not try to find a shortcut when it comes to the checking stage. Don't let silly mistakes be your downfall. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments and let me know what IELTS videos would be useful for you. My last video was on how to get a band 9 in IELTS writing task 1, so check that out if you haven't already and subscribe for more.